I want to reveal to you why these words hold such tremendous power and how you can use them to manifest everything you have ever desired. You see, most people spend their entire life searching outside themselves for power, for permission, for validation. They believe their desires must be achieved through hard work, struggle, and external forces. But I tell you this, all power resides within your own consciousness. When you declare, "I am the power," you are acknowledging the fundamental truth of existence. You are recognizing that the force that moves the stars and grows the flowers is the same force that flows through your consciousness. Let me tell you something profound about these 4 words. When you speak them, you're not making a mere affirmation. You're declaring your true nature, your essential being. You're acknowledging the creative force within you. Consider this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone recognizing their inner power. They didn't wait for external permission. They didn't seek validation from others. They understood that all power flows from within. You see, most people have it backwards. They say, "When I have this, then I will be powerful." But I tell you this, you must first assume your power, and then all things become possible. These 4 words, "I am the power," are not just words to be spoken. They must be felt. They must be lived. They must become your dominant state of consciousness. Let me share with you what happens when you truly embody these words. The entire universe must reorganize itself to reflect your new self-concept. This is not metaphysics, it's law. This is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you want to manifest. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about getting something you don't have. It's about revealing what already exists within your consciousness. When you declare, "I am the power," you're not creating power. You're acknowledging what has always been true. This recognition changes everything. Your entire world must shift to align with this declaration. You see, most people approach manifestation like beggars, hoping and wishing for their desires to be granted. But when you know, I am the power, you approach life as a creator, knowing that what you decree must manifest. Let me share something profound about consciousness. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in your world is simply consciousness made visible. Therefore, when you declare, "I am the power," you're literally reshaping your entire universe. Think about this. Every morning when you wake up, you're either reinforcing your powerlessness or claiming your power. There is no neutral position. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is either aligning with "I am the power" or denying it. You see, these 4 words are not just a positive affirmation. They are a recognition of the fundamental truth of your being. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Most of you have been taught to look for power in external circumstances, in money, in relationships, in social status. But I tell you this, all these things are merely effects. The cause lies in your consciousness. Consider what happens when you truly know, "I am the power." You no longer beg, you no longer plead, you no longer hope. You simply decree, and by law your decree must manifest. Let me share with you why these words are so transformative. When you declare, "I am the power," you're shifting your entire self-concept. You're no longer seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You see, most people spend their lives reacting to what they see. But when you know, "I am the power," you understand that what you see is simply your consciousness pushed out. Therefore, to change what you see, you must change your consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement began with someone knowing they were the power. They didn't wait for conditions to change. They changed conditions by changing their consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in the depths of consciousness when you truly embody these 4 words. Your entire world begins to reorganize itself to match your new self-concept. You see, most people believe their circumstances dictate their state of being. But when you declare, "I am the power," you reverse this process. Your state of being now dictates your circumstances. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to external conditions. Let me tell you something profound about manifestation. When you know, "I am the power," you stop asking how things will manifest. You understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your problems, your limitations, your obstacles. But I tell you this, These are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. You see, when you truly embody these 4 words, you enter a new dimension of being. In this dimension, problems don't need to be solved. They simply dissolve in the light of your consciousness. Think about this. Everything you see in your world right now is the result of your previous concepts about yourself. Change the concept by knowing I am the power, and your world must change. Let me share with you the true meaning of these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a positive statement. You're acknowledging your true identity. Most of you have been taught to look for causes outside yourself. But when you know I am the power, you understand that you are the only cause in your world. Consider this carefully. Every condition in your life right now is simply a shadow of your consciousness. When you truly know I am the power, you cease fighting shadows and start changing consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformative nature of these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing the very foundation of your reality. You see, most people live their entire lives believing they're victims of circumstances. But when you truly embody I am the power, you understand that circumstances are merely reflections of consciousness. Consider what happens when you wake up each morning knowing I'm the power. Suddenly, obstacles become opportunities. Problems become possibilities. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate your creative power. Let me share something profound about these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a future promise. You're claiming a present reality. This distinction changes everything. Most of you sit here thinking about what you want to create in your future. But I tell you this, there is no future creation. There is only present assumption. When you know I am the power, you understand that what you assume now must manifest. You see, these 4 words are not just a statement. They are a complete shift in consciousness. When you truly embody them, you cease looking outside yourself for anything. Think about this. Every time you say, I can't or it's too difficult, you're denying these 4 words. You're giving your power away to external conditions. Let me tell you what happens when you consistently maintain this consciousness. Your entire world must reshape itself to reflect your new self-concept. Most of you have spent years accumulating evidence of your limitations. But when you know I am the power, you understand that all past evidence is irrelevant. Only your present assumption matters. Consider this. Every great achievement in your life began with a shift in consciousness. When you knew you could, you did. These 4 words simply make this knowing permanent. Let me share with you something profound about these 4 words that most will never understand. When you declare I am the power, you're not just making a statement. You're activating the very force that created the universe. You see, most people spend their lives waiting for permission to be powerful. They wait for the right circumstances, the right credentials, the right moment. But I tell you this, the only permission you need is your own recognition that I am the power. Consider what happens in your world when you truly embody these words. Your relationships change because you no longer seek power from others. Your work transforms because you no longer depend on external validation. Your entire life shifts because you're operating from a new dimension of consciousness. Let me tell you about the subtle shift that occurs when you consistently maintain this state. You stop asking, when will my desire manifest? Because you understand that manifestation is not a future event. It's a present moment recognition. Most of you have been taught that power is something to be acquired. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power is your natural state. Everything else is learned powerlessness. You see, these 4 words challenge everything you've been taught about. Cause and effect. When you know I am the power, you understand that consciousness is the only cause and everything else is effect. Think about this. Every time you say I hope or I wish, you're denying these 4 words. You're placing power outside yourself in some future event or external circumstance. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Your entire world must rearrange itself to match your new self-concept. This is not theory, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your current limitations, your future obstacles. But I tell you this, all of these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no neutral ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me reveal to you the deeper meaning behind these 4 words. When you declare, "I am the power," you're not making a casual statement. You're aligning yourself with the fundamental creative force of the universe. You see, most people live their entire lives believing that power lies in their actions, their resources, their connections. But I tell you this, all these are merely expressions of consciousness. When you know I am the power, your actions flow from this knowing. Consider what happens when you approach each day from this consciousness. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up knowing that you bring to the day whatever you decree in consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs when you live from these 4 words. You stop seeking validation from others because you understand that all validation comes from within. You stop fighting circumstances because you know that circumstances are merely shadows. Most of you have spent years trying to change effects while leaving the cause untouched. But when you declare, "I am the power," you go straight to the cause, your own consciousness. You see, these 4 words contain within them the secret of all creation. When you truly embody them, you understand that everything in your world is simply your consciousness pushed out. Think about this. Every time you blame external conditions for your state, you're denying these 4 words. You're giving away your creative power to shadows. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes natural to you. You stop asking, "How will this happen?" because you understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here thinking about what's possible and what's impossible. But I tell you this, possibility and impossibility exist only in consciousness. When you know I am the power, all things become possible. Consider this. Every limitation in your life now exists only because you've accepted it in consciousness. When you truly embody these 4 words, all limitations dissolve. Let me share with you something profound about these 4 words that will forever change how you view manifestation. When you declare, "I am the power," you're not just speaking words. You're awaking to your true identity. You see, most people spend their lives seeking power through achievement, through accumulation, through recognition. But I tell you this, all seeking ends when you realize that you are what you've been seeking. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these words. You stop looking for signs, you stop waiting for permission, you stop seeking approval. Because when you know I am the power, what else could you possibly need? Let me tell you about the shift that occurs in your relationships when you embody these words. You no longer need others to complete you, to validate you, to empower you. You become complete within yourself. And paradoxically, this completeness attracts more fulfilling relationships. Most of you have been taught that power comes from doing. But when you declare, "I am the power," you understand that power comes from being. Your doing then flows naturally from your being. You see, these 4 words revolutionize your entire approach to manifestation. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold from your consciousness. Think about this. Every time you say, "I'll try" or "I hope," you're actually denying your power. You're placing the fulfillment of your desires in some uncertain future. Let me share with you what happens. When you maintain this consciousness consistently, your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this new self concept. This is not magic, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you need to do to manifest your desires. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about doing, it's about being. When you know I am the power, the doing takes care of itself. Consider this. Every great achievement in history began with someone knowing their power. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They understood that conditions respond to consciousness. You see, most people spend their lives in reaction mode, responding to circumstances, adapting to conditions. But I tell you this, when you know I am the power, you create circumstances, you determine conditions. Consider what happens when you approach each moment from this consciousness. You no longer see problems as obstacles, you see them as opportunities to demonstrate your creative power. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your financial world when you embody these words. Money ceases to be something you chase and becomes something you attract through your consciousness of abundance. Most of you have been programmed to believe that success requires struggle. But when you declare I am the power, you understand that success is simply the natural expression of your consciousness. You see, these 4 words completely transform your relationship with time. When you truly know I am the power, you cease postponing your good to some future date. Think about this. Every time you say, when I have this, then I'll be powerful, you're denying your present power. You're placing your power in external conditions. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes your natural state. The entire experience of reality shifts. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your present limitations, your future uncertainties. But I tell you this, all these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten its power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There's no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me share with you the final and most crucial understanding about these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you are making the ultimate declaration of independence from all external influences. You see, tonight marks a turning point in your life. From this moment forward, you will never again see yourself as powerless. You will never again give your power away to circumstances, to other people, or to past experiences. Consider this moment right now. As you sit here absorbing these words, you have a choice. You can continue living as you have been, seeing power as something outside yourself, or you can claim your true identity by knowing I am the power. Let me tell you what your world will look like when you fully embody these words. Everything that once seemed like an obstacle will become a stepping stone. Every challenge will become an opportunity to demonstrate your creative power. Most of you came here tonight seeking answers. But I tell you this, the only answer you need is already within you. It is the knowing, the absolute conviction that I am the power. You see, these 4 words are not just a technique or a method. They are a complete revolution in consciousness. When you truly embody them, your entire world must transform. Think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Will you rise as the same person who came here tonight? Or will you rise knowing I am the power, ready to create your day consciously? Let me share with you this final truth. There's no power outside of you. There never was and there never will be. All power resides in consciousness, and you are that consciousness. From this moment forward, let every breath you take be a reminder that I am the power. Let every heartbeat affirm this truth. Let every step you take be from this consciousness. Remember, you are not becoming powerful. You are simply recognizing what has always been true. You are the power that creates worlds. You are the power that moves mountains. You are the power that transforms lives. Tonight, make this sacred commitment to yourself. Promise that you will never again deny your power. Promise that you will never again give your power away. Promise that you will live every moment from the consciousness that I am the power. For this promise lies your freedom. In this recognition lies your transformation. In this knowing lies everything you have ever desired. Go forth now, not as seekers but as knowers, not as hopeful dreamers but as conscious creators, not as victims of circumstances but as martyrs. For when you know, truly know, I am the power, nothing in this world can stand against you. Nothing can deny you. Nothing can limit you. This is your time. This is your power. Now, rise up and claim it. Rise up and live it. Rise up and be it. For you are the power. You have always been the power, and you will always be the power. Let this be your final understanding, your ultimate truth, your eternal knowing. I'm the power. And so it is. I speak to you tonight about a principle so profound, yet so simple, that many of you may dismiss it at first. But I tell you with absolute conviction, the most important focus of your life must be yourself. Not the self that the world knows, but the self that is your true identity, your divine nature, your I am. When I say focus on yourself, I am not speaking of the outer self that you present to the world. I speak of that deeper self, that infinite being within you that is God. For you must understand this fundamental truth, your consciousness, your I amness is God. This is not blasphemy. This is the deepest truth of Scripture, hidden in plain sight for those with eyes to see. Consider the words, "Be still and know that I am God." These words are not speaking of a distant deity in some far-off heaven. They speak of your own wonderful human imagination, your own consciousness. When you truly focus on yourself, you are focusing on God, for you and the Father are one. Many of you come to me asking about manifestation, about creating your desires in the external world. But I tell you now, all manifestation begins with self-focus, with the recognition of who you really are. For how can you manifest anything if you do not first understand that you are the operant power? You are the God of your universe. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. When you focus on yourself, your true self, you are focusing on the only creative power in existence. All things come from within. There is no other source. The world you see now is nothing more than your consciousness pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every condition in your life is yourself pushed out. Do you understand the magnitude of this truth? Everything you see, everything you experience is yourself made visible. Therefore, to change anything in your world, you must first change yourself. Not the outer self, but your conception of yourself, your inner knowing. When I speak of focusing on yourself, I am speaking of assuming the state of consciousness of the person you wish to be. This is not about changing your actions first. Actions follow consciousness. First, you must focus on being the person who would naturally have, do, or be what you desire. Let me give you the perfect example from Scripture. When David faced Goliath, he didn't focus on the giant before him. He focused on himself as the victor. He dwelt in the consciousness of victory before a single stone was thrown. This is the secret that most of the world has missed. David focused on himself as the winner, not on the problem before him. You see, most people have it backwards. They focus on what they want to change in their external world. They focus on their problems, their limitations, their current circumstances. But I tell you now, this is like trying to change your reflection in the mirror by arguing with the mirror. You must change yourself, and the reflection will change automatically. When I tell you to focus on yourself, I am telling you to focus on the state you wish to occupy. If you want wealth, focus on yourself as wealthy. If you want love, focus on yourself as loved. If you want success, focus on yourself as successful. But then this is crucial. You must do this from the inside out. Consider this. Every night before you sleep, where does your focus go? Most of you focus on the events of the day, the problems you face, the things you lack. But I tell you, this is the exact opposite of what you should do. Instead, focus on yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel yourself to be the person who has what you desire. Many of you may be thinking, but Wayne, isn't this selfish? Shouldn't we focus on others? Let me be very clear, there are no others. What you see as others are aspects of yourself pushed out. Therefore, when you truly focus on yourself, your highest self, your divine self, you are focusing on all of humanity. For we are all one consciousness, individualized into seemingly separate beings. The great secret that the mystics and prophets have tried to share throughout the ages is this: your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, absolutely everything, springs from your consciousness. Therefore, focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is the most profound act of creation you can engage in. Let me share with you a technique I have often used and taught. When you go into the silence of your own being, focus on yourself as having already achieved your desire. Do not think of how it will happen. Do not think of the process. Think only of the end, of the person you would be when your desire is fulfilled. If you wish to be wealthy, do not focus on making money. Focus on yourself as someone who is already wealthy. Feel the naturalness of wealth. Feel how you would feel if wealth were your natural state. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with wealth. This is focusing on yourself in the proper way. If you seek love, do not focus on finding someone to love you. Focus on yourself as someone who is deeply loved and cherished. Feel how you would feel if perfect love were your natural state. Feel the warmth, the security, the joy of being completely loved. This is focusing on yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. Some of you might be wondering, but what about action? Don't we need to do something? Yes, action will come, but it will come naturally and effortlessly when you are properly focused on yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. The actions will flow from your new state of consciousness, not from your current state of lack. Remember the story of Moses parting the Red Sea. He didn't focus on the impossibility before him. He didn't focus on the problem. He focused on himself as one who had the power to lead his people to safety. His focus on himself as the deliverer created the miracle. The sea parted not because of what he did, but because of who he knew himself to be. This is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. It is not about ego. It is not about selfishness. It is about recognizing and claiming your divine nature. It is about understanding that you are the operant power in your world. Everything you see, everything you experience is beautifully created. When you walk through your day, remember this truth. The world you see is yourself pushed out. Every person you meet is yourself pushed out. Every circumstance you encounter is yourself pushed out. Therefore, to change anything, focus on yourself, not the outer self, but the inner self, the consciousness from which all things spring. I want you to grasp this principle so deeply that it becomes the foundation of your entire life. Your consciousness is the only reality. Your I am-ness is God. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, your true self, you are focusing on the creative power of the universe. Do not make the mistake of thinking that focusing on yourself means becoming self-centered in the egotistical sense. This is not about the personality, the outer self. This is about recognizing and claiming your divine nature. This is about understanding that you are the operant power in your world. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on yourself as limited, as lacking, as unable, that becomes your reality. But you focus on yourself as the embodiment of success, of abundance, of love, that becomes your reality. The choice is yours. And you make this choice through your focus. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. While in prison, he didn't focus on his circumstances. He focused on himself as the interpreter of dreams, as one who had a divine gift. His focus on himself in this elevated state led him from the prison to the palace. This is the power of proper self-focus. Many of you spend your days focusing on what's wrong in your life, what's missing, what needs to be fixed. But I tell you now, this is the opposite of what you should do. Instead, focus on yourself as the person who has what you desire. Feel yourself to be that person. Live from that state. The world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, when you focus on yourself properly, you are focusing on the cause, not the effect. You are focusing on the root, not the fruit. You are focusing on the creator, not the creation. When you go to sleep tonight, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Feel how that person would feel. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness. This is not imagination in the fantasy sense. This is using your imagination as the creative power it truly is. Remember, your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, your body, your circumstances, your relationships, your possessions, these are all effects. They are all yourself pushed out. Therefore, to change any effect, you must change the cause. And the cause is always your consciousness, your concept of yourself. Let me be very clear about this when I tell you to focus on yourself. I am telling you to focus on the state of consciousness you wish to occupy. If you want health, focus on yourself as healthy. If you want wealth, focus on yourself as wealthy. If you want love, focus on yourself as loved. But do this from the inside out, not the outside in. Many of you try to change things from the outside in. You try to change your circumstances first, hoping that this will change how you feel about yourself. But this is backwards. You must change yourself first, your concept of yourself, your inner knowing. And then the outer world will conform to this new self-concept. Think of it this way. Everything you see in your world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, if you don't like what you see, don't try to change the outer picture. Change yourself, your concept of yourself, and the outer picture must change to match your new self-concept. This is why focusing on yourself is so crucial. Not the self that the world knows, but the self that is your true identity. Focus on yourself as the person who already has what you desire. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Live from that state. Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state you occupy is the state that manifests. If you occupy the state of lack, lack manifests. If you occupy the state of abundance, abundance manifests. If you occupy the state of love, love manifests. This is law. Therefore, when you focus on yourself in the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, focus on yourself as successful. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Many of you make the mistake of trying to change things in your outer world while maintaining the same concept of yourself. But I tell you now, this is impossible. The outer world can only reflect your concept of yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Think of yourself as a radio broadcasting station. Whatever frequency you broadcast, whatever state you occupy, that is what manifests in your world. Therefore, to change your world, change your broadcast. Change your concept of yourself. When you go into meditation or prayer, do not focus on what you want to change in your outer world. Focus on yourself as the person who already has what you desire. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness. Remember, the feeling is the secret, not the intellectual understanding, not the affirmations, not the visualizations, although these can be helpful tools. The feeling of being the person who already has what you desire is the key. Let me give you a practical application of this principle. If you want more money in your life, do not focus on getting money. Focus on yourself as someone who naturally has money. Feel how you would feel if money were your natural state. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with having money. If you want better relationships, do not focus on finding the right person or fixing your current relationships. Focus on yourself as someone who naturally experiences wonderful relationships. Feel how you would feel if perfect relationships were your natural state. The world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, whatever you focus on in yourself becomes your reality. If you focus on lack, lack manifests. If you focus on abundance, abundance manifests. If you focus on love, love manifests. This is law. Many of you spend your time trying to manipulate the outer world, trying to make things happen, trying to control circumstances and people. But I tell you now, this is unnecessary. Focus on yourself, your concept of yourself. And the outer world must conform to this self-concept. Remember, there is only one cause in all creation, and that cause is consciousness, your I am-ness. Therefore, when you focus on yourself properly, you are focusing on the only creative power in existence. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you accept as real is the state that manifests. If you accept yourself as limited, limitation manifests. If you accept yourself as abundant, abundance manifests. If you accept yourself as love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on accepting the state you wish to manifest. Accept it as real. Accept it as natural. Accept it as your true state. This acceptance is crucial. Many of you struggle with accepting the state you desire because your senses tell you otherwise. But I tell you now, your senses only show you what has been manifested from past states of consciousness. They cannot show you what is possible. I think of it this way. Your senses can only show you what has been. They cannot show you what can be. Therefore, do not let your senses dictate your concept of yourself. Choose the concept you wish to embody and focus on that. When you go to sleep tonight, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Accept this as your true state. Let this acceptance saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Remember, the outer world can only reflect your concept of yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Therefore, if you want to change your outer world, change your concept of yourself. This is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. Many of you make the mistake of trying to change things in your outer world while maintaining the same concept of yourself. But I tell you now, this is like trying to change your reflection in the mirror by arguing with the mirror. You must change yourself, and the reflection will change automatically. Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state you persist in is the state that manifests. If you persist in the state of lack, lack manifests. If you persist in the state of abundance, abundance manifests. If you persist in the state of love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, persist in the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, persist in seeing yourself as successful. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling become so familiar that it becomes your dominant state. Remember, persistence is crucial. You cannot occupy a state for a moment and expect it to manifest. You must persist in the state until it becomes your natural state, your dominant state. Many of you give up too soon. You occupy a state for a day or two, see no results, and return to your old state. But I tell you now, persistence is key. Persist in the state you wish to manifest, regardless of appearances. Think of it this way: when you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the law of growth. In the same way, when you plant a new concept of yourself, trust the law of manifestation. Persist in the state, regardless of appearances. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you believe in is the state that manifests. If you believe in limitation, limitation manifests. If you believe in abundance, abundance manifests. If you believe in love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on believing in the state you wish to manifest. Believe in it completely. Believe in it naturally. Believe in it, your true state. This belief is crucial. Many of you struggle with believing in the state you desire because your past experiences tell you otherwise. But I tell you now, your past experiences only show you what has been manifested from past beliefs. They cannot show you what is possible with new beliefs. Think of it this way. Your past experiences can only show you what has been. They cannot show you what can be. Therefore, do not let your past experiences dictate your beliefs about yourself. Choose the beliefs you wish to embody and focus on those. When you go about your day, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Believe in this version of yourself completely. Accept it as your true state. Let this belief saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Remember, the outer world can only reflect your beliefs about yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Therefore, if you want to change your outer world, change your beliefs about yourself. This is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. Let me share with you one final principle. The state you live from is the state that manifests. If you live from lack, lack manifests. If you live from abundance, abundance manifests. If you live from love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on living from the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, live from the state of success. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling guide your thoughts, your words, your actions. Remember, living from a state is different from trying to achieve a state. When you live from a state, you are that state now. When you try to achieve a state, you push it into the future. Many of you make the mistake of putting your desired state into the future. You say, I will be successful, I will be wealthy, I will be loved. But I tell you now, this keeps your desire forever. The one thing you must stop doing, the very thing that pushes success away from you, is living in the consciousness of lack. Now, let me tell you what I mean by this, for it is of paramount importance. Every moment of your day, you are either living in the consciousness of lack or the consciousness of abundance. There is no middle ground, no neutral state of being. When you declare, I want success, you are actually affirming its absence. When you say, I need more money, you are dwelling in the consciousness of not having enough. When you proclaim, I wish I was successful, you are living in a state of wanting rather than having. Do you see the subtle yet crucial difference? Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. The outside world is nothing more than the objectification of your inner assumptions. Whatever you are experiencing now, be it lack or abundance, is the direct result of your accepted beliefs about yourself and the world. Tonight, I will show you how to move from the consciousness of lack to the consciousness of fulfillment, from the state of wanting to the state of having, from the condition of seeking to the condition of being. Consider this: when you say, I want success, you are placing success outside of yourself, making it something to be attained rather than something to be expressed. This is the fundamental error that keeps pushing success away from you. Success is not something to be pursued. It is a consciousness to be assumed. Let me tell you a story from my own experience. Many years ago, I knew a man who constantly spoke about wanting to be successful. He would say, when I become successful, I will, and then list all the things he would do. Year after year, success eluded him. Why? Because he was living in the consciousness of wanting success rather than being successful. Then one day, he heard what I'm telling you now. He realized that as long as he lived in the consciousness of wanting success, he would continue to experience the want of success. That very night, he made a fundamental shift in his consciousness. Instead of saying, I want success, He began to live from the consciousness of being successful. He would fall asleep each night feeling the naturalness of being successful. He would walk through his day experiencing the feeling of being successful. He made this his new normal state of consciousness. Now pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you, for this is the crux of the matter. Success is not a future event, it is a state of consciousness. The feeling of being successful now is the secret of experiencing success in what you call the future. When you live in the consciousness of lack, saying things like, I need more money, I want better relationships, I wish I had more opportunities, you are actually reinforcing the very state that keeps these things from you. You are dwelling in the consciousness of absence, and the law of consciousness dictates that what you assume you must express. Let me show you how to make this fundamental shift in consciousness. First, you must understand that your imagination is not a tool for daydreaming about what you want. It is the very substance of reality itself. When I speak of imagination, I am speaking of your consciousness, your I am-ness. The Bible tells us, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." This is not mere poetry, it is a practical instruction in the art of consciousness transformation. When you continue to live in the consciousness of lack, you are using your imagination, your creative power, to perpetuate the very condition you wish to change. Consider this profound truth. Everything in your world is pushing against you with the force of your own assumption. If you assume lack, the whole world will prove you right. If you assume abundance, the same world will reorganize itself to prove that assumption. Now, let me give you a practical technique to stop living in the consciousness of lack. Tonight, when you go to bed, instead of reviewing your day of wanting and seeking success, you will enter into a new state of consciousness. You will feel as though you are already successful. But remember, this is not mere positive thinking or affirmation. This is a complete assumption of the state of consciousness of being successful. Feel its naturalness. Feel how it would feel to be the person you desire to be. Feel the satisfaction, the contentment, the gratitude that would be yours if you were already expressing success. Many of you are thinking, but Wayne, how can I feel successful when my current reality shows me the opposite? This is where most people remain trapped in the consciousness of lack. They allow their current circumstances to dictate their inner state. Let me tell you something remarkable. Your present circumstances are nothing more than the harvest of your previous assumptions. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power by accepting them as final. Think about this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone who dared to assume a state that their senses denied. Every invention, every discovery, every advancement started in the imagination of someone who refused to accept current circumstances as final. The one thing you must stop doing is allowing your present facts to determine your inner conversations. Your inner conversations are your actual state of consciousness. When you say, I can't afford it, it's too difficult, I'm not qualified enough, you are having inner conversations that perpetuate the state of lack. Instead, you must begin new inner conversations based on the assumption of already being what you desire to be. When you walk, you must walk with the feeling of being successful. When you talk, you must talk from the consciousness of being successful. When you work, you must work from the state of being successful. Let me share with you a profound secret. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret of creation. Whatever you are feeling is true about yourself right now is creating your future experiences. If you are feeling the frustration of wanting success, you are creating more experiences of wanting success. Now, let us delve deeper into the practical application of this principle. When I tell you to live in the consciousness of success rather than the consciousness of lack, I am not suggesting mere mental gymnastics. I am revealing to you the very foundation of creation itself. Consider this. Every night before you sleep, your consciousness is in a state of high receptivity. This is the time when the seed of your assumption will take root most deeply. Instead of falling asleep, feeling the frustration of what you do not have, fall asleep in the consciousness of already having what you desire. Let me give you a specific technique. As you lay in your bed, try to close your eyes and ask yourself this question: how would I feel if I were not expressing the success I desire? Then let that feeling envelop you completely. Feel the satisfaction, the contentment. The absolute knowing that success is not something you are seeking, but something you are expressing right now. Remember, the subconscious mind accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. It does not argue, it does not question, it simply accepts and then proceeds to express that acceptance in your outer world. This is why feeling is the secret. Many of you have been told that you must work hard, struggle, and sacrifice to achieve success. But I tell you, these are the very assumptions that keep you bound to the consciousness of lack. Success is not achieved through effort, it is expressed through assumption. Think about this: when you assume the feeling of success, you are actually moving into a different state of consciousness. In this new state, opportunities that were always there but invisible to your previous state of consciousness suddenly become visible and available to you. Let me share with you a principle that few understand. The whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Everything you perceive is an expression of your own consciousness. Therefore, when you live in the consciousness of lack, the whole world conspires to show you lack. When you live in the consciousness of success, the same world reorganizes itself to show you success. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, what about action? Don't we need to do something? Yes, but your actions must spring from the consciousness of already being successful, not from the consciousness of trying to become successful. Do you see the difference? When you act from the consciousness of lack, your actions are tinged with anxiety, doubt, and the energy of seeking. But when you act from the consciousness of already being successful, your actions flow naturally, effortlessly, inspired by the very state you have assumed. Consider this: success is not a destination. It is a state of consciousness. Just as you can move from one room to another in your physical home, you can move from one state of consciousness to another in your spiritual home. The move is accomplished not by physical effort, but by assumption. Let me tell you something profound. The state of consciousness of already being successful knows exactly what to do. It knows precisely what actions to take. It attracts the right circumstances, the right people, the right opportunities. But you must first occupy that state. Let us now address what many find most challenging: maintaining this new state of consciousness when your external world has not yet caught up with your inner assumption. This is where most people falter, where they allow the evidence of their senses to pull them back into the consciousness of lack. Remember this eternal truth: the outer world must conform to your inner assumptions, but it does so in its own time and in what often appears to be a natural way. While you're waiting for the outer manifestation, you must maintain the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. Let me share with you what I mean by persistence in assumption. When you wake each morning, your first thoughts often determine the tone of your entire day. Instead of waking to thoughts of what you lack or what you need to achieve, wake to the consciousness of already being successful. Feel it as naturally as you feel the pillow beneath your head. Many of you ask, but Wayne, what about when things go wrong? What about when circumstances seem to contradict my assumption? Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, for this is crucial. Circumstances have no power to alter your state of consciousness unless you give them that power. When circumstances seem to deny your assumption, that is the time to intensify your feeling of already being what you desire to be. Remember, the outer world is only reflecting your past assumptions. Your present assumption, if persisted in, will become your future fact. Consider this every moment of your day. You are either strengthening your new state of consciousness or falling back into the old state of lack. Your inner conversations, your reactions to events, your feelings about yourself, these are either confirming your new state or contradicting it. Let me give you a specific example. When you receive a bill in the mail, do you immediately fall into the consciousness of lack, thinking, how will I pay this? Or do you maintain the consciousness of abundance, knowing that as a successful person, all your needs are met with ease? Your reaction in such moments reveals your true state of consciousness. This is why I tell you, the one thing you must stop doing is allowing external circumstances to determine your internal state. Your internal state must be maintained regardless of external evidence. This is the art of living from the end. Think about this: success is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens from you. It is the outer expression of an inner conviction. When you truly live in the consciousness of being successful, success becomes as natural as breathing. Many of you have been taught to set goals, to make plans, to take action. But I tell you, before all of these, you must first establish the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. For your goals, plans, and actions will then spring from this new state of consciousness, carrying with them the power of fulfillment. Let me share with you a profound secret about manifestation. The world is not responding to your wants, your needs, or your wishes. It is responding to your state of consciousness. When you live in the consciousness of lack, saying I want success, you are actually manifesting more wanting, not more success. Now let us discuss what I consider to be the most vital aspect of this teaching, the role of faith in maintaining your new state of consciousness. But when I speak of faith, I do not mean belief or hoping for the best. I speak of faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen in the external world. Consider this profound truth: faith is nothing more than loyalty to your unseen assumption. When you assume the consciousness of being successful and persist in that assumption despite all external evidence to the contrary, you are exercising true faith. Let me tell you something that few understand about the nature of faith. Faith is not believing that something will happen in the future. Faith is knowing that what you desire is already yours in consciousness, and therefore must manifest in your experience. This is why I tell you that imagination creates reality. Many of you struggle with maintaining your assumption because you're constantly looking for evidence in the external world. But I tell you, the evidence appears after the assumption, never before. Your task is to remain faithful to your assumption until it hardens into fact. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll believe it when I see it, you are living in direct opposition to the law of consciousness. The correct attitude is, I'll see it because I believe it. This is the true meaning of faith. When you wake in the morning and your external world shows no sign of your assumed success, that is the moment to intensify your faith. Instead of allowing the external to shake your conviction, let every contradiction strengthen your resolve to maintain your new state of consciousness. Let me share with you a practical technique for maintaining your faith. Throughout your day, whenever you notice yourself slipping back into the consciousness of lack, stop and ask yourself this question: how would I be thinking and feeling right now if I were already expressing the success I desire? This simple question will bring you back to your desired state of consciousness. But remember, this is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about assuming the natural feeling of already being what you desire to be. Consider how a truly successful person thinks and feels. They don't wake up wondering if success will come to them. They don't go through their day seeking success. They live, move, and have their being in the consciousness of success. This must become your new normal. Many of you have created habits of thought and feeling that perpetuate the consciousness of lack. Every time you say, I can't afford it, it's too difficult, I'm not ready, you are strengthening these habits. These must be replaced with new habits that spring from your assumed state of success. Let me tell you something profound about habits of consciousness. They can be changed in an instant by assumption. The moment you assume a new state of consciousness, you have changed. The persistence of that change depends entirely on your loyalty to the new state. Let us now explore what happens in the interval between your assumption and its manifestation in the physical world. This interval is where most people falter, where they allow doubt to creep in and return to the old state of consciousness. Remember this: the interval is not a period of waiting, it is a period of gestation. Just as the seed planted in the ground requires time to grow into a visible plant, your assumption requires time to grow into a visible manifestation. But the seed does not doubt, it simply grows according to law. Many of you ask, how long must I maintain this new consciousness before I see results? This is the voice of doubt, the voice that would pull you back into the consciousness of lack. Time is not a factor in the operation of consciousness. The only factor is the intensity and persistence of your assumption. Consider this: every moment you spend wondering when your desire will manifest is a moment spent in the consciousness of not having it. Every moment you spend checking to see if it's working is a moment of doubt. These moments of doubt are like continually digging up a seed to see if it's growing. Let me share with you the secret of perfect faith. Live as though your assumption is already fact. When you truly assume the consciousness of being successful, you no longer worry about when or how it will manifest. You simply live from that state, knowing that what you have assumed in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. Think about this. The outer world is nothing more than a delayed reflection of your inner assumptions. What you are experiencing now is the result of past assumptions. What you will experience tomorrow is being determined by your consciousness today. Many of you struggle with what appears to be failure or setback. But I tell you, there is no such thing as failure when you understand the law of consciousness. What appears as failure is simply the passing away of an old state of consciousness. It is making way for the new state you have assumed. Let me tell you something profound about the nature of success. It is not a series of achievements or acquisitions. It is a state of consciousness that, once truly assumed, expresses itself in countless ways in your external world. When you live in the consciousness of success, success becomes your natural experience. Consider how different your life would be if you never again lived in the consciousness of lack. If you never again said, I can't, I need, I want. If you lived completely and consistently in the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. This is the challenge I leave with you tonight. Stop doing the one thing that pushes success away. Stop living in the consciousness of lack. Begin now to live in the consciousness of fulfillment. Let every thought, every feeling, every inner conversation spring from the assumption that you are already what you desire to be. Remember this eternal truth. The world is yourself pushed out. Change your concept of self and you change your world. There is no other way. All things exist in consciousness, and it is from consciousness that all things appear. Your task is simple, though it may not be easy. Assume the consciousness of being successful now. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances change, but now. For now is the only time there is, and now is when your assumptions are creating your future. I leave you with this final thought. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you express from a state of consciousness. The consciousness of lack perpetuates lack. The consciousness of success perpetuates success. Choose this day which consciousness you will live from. For in the end, there is only one cause behind all effects, one source of all manifestation, consciousness. You are that consciousness individualized as you. The power is within you. The choice is yours. The time is this now. The time is this law. Prove it to yourself. For in the testing lies your freedom, and in the proving lies your transformation. Go now and live in the assumption that you are already that which you desire to be, and watch as your world transforms to reflect your new state of consciousness. The one thing you must stop doing is waiting to be successful. For success is not a future state to be achieved. It is a present state to be assumed. Assume it now. Live from it now. Be it now. For what you assume, you become. And now, knowing this truth, knowing that the power is within you, knowing that your consciousness creates your reality, go forth and be what you desire to be. For in this knowing lies your freedom, and in this freedom lies your power. Test it, prove it, live it, for this is the law and this is the way. Good night.